Welcome back to the Elise Surkoff podcast. All right, let's buckle up, buttercups. This is I'd say the number one thing that I get a lot of love and a lot of hate on the gram, which is drinking coffee first thing in the morning in perimenopause. Okay, let's back up a little bit. Why do I love coffee so much? All right, so first and foremost, I am not a coffee addict. The only thing I'm truly addicted to, if I can be totally honest, is getting better. I am so addicted to personal growth and development and just becoming a better version of myself every fucking second of the day. But I do love hot coffee first thing in the morning. It is part of my routine. I wake up in the morning, I do my business. I come down, and while I turn on the coffee maker, I practice gratitude. Then, with my coffee, I will go into a meditation. I enjoy my coffee black. I don't want anything in it. And I also enjoy it alone and in the dark. I like the quiet. I like the peace. Yes, I'm a mom of three. So if you don't have kids, you're probably like, what the hell is wrong with her? But this to me is something that I truly look forward to. And I know a lot of you do too, because you send me comments and messages all the time on how happy you are that I've given you permission to have coffee first thing in the morning. Okay, let's back this up a little bit. Let's get a little bit sciencey here. Why is this such a big fucking deal? All right. A lot of people out there are fear mongering when it comes to stress. And when we talk about stress, we talk about the stress hormone cortisol, okay, which is released by the adrenal glands that sits in your kidneys. Okay, so that's as sciencey as we're going to get there. However, what a lot of people will tell us is that in perimenopause, we are more stress resistant because we're losing estrogen. That is a fact. That is true. I preach that as well. We need to manage stress better because we can't handle things the same way. Now, if you are still a cycling woman, so you're getting a regular period, then you can equate this to that later part of your cycle, that late luteal phase, day 26, 24 through 28. If you have a 28-day cycle, you're basically hitting like a mini menopause every single month, where progesterone is going to fall hard, and then estrogen falls, and then it comes right back up again. So, for example, you might feel like you're going crazy, and I know I've had this conversation with Albert many times, many cycles, where I will be almost in tears, saying, I don't know if we're meant to be together anymore. And I don't know. And I'm just not happy. And then the next morning I'll get a period and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't mean anything that I said. And he's like, yeah, I know, babe. I know what day you're on, because he tracks my cycle. So you will feel like you can't handle shit the same way you used to. Okay. And that is because you are more stress resilient. Estrogen makes us handle stress better. So if I were to unload on you, like, I don't know, I'm going to like have a hard conversation or whatever it is that may or may not make you feel uncomfortable. If I did this to you at the beginning of your cycle versus the end of your cycle, your response to it's going to feel very different. So when we're in perimenopause and we're having irregular cycles, or we're starting to have progesterone falling slowly over time, which is happening, it's happening to me now. It fucking sucks. You're going to notice that things are going to piss you off faster and more often. So like a lot of women will say to me, their capacity for shit is like gone. They react fast to their kids, to their husband, to their boss, to their employees, whatever it is. It's like, I don't know why I'm so reactive. I'm so upset when someone cuts me off in traffic. I freak out like I never have. All these things you're going to be more heightened. Okay. And that's the stress response that is really becoming a problem. So now you add that. So that is what is physiologically happening right now in your body, plus all the extra shit that we do every single day that causes stress. So maybe you're burning the candle at both ends. Anything that puts our nervous system in a constant sympathetic mode, which it's not meant to be in. The sympathetic mode is your fight or flight mode, okay? And it is not meant to be activated nonstop. You're not supposed to have that power of fighting a bear always at your disposal, all right? So let's give examples here. You wake up in the morning and I don't know, you're on Instagram and you see something that really upsets you. Maybe it's your friends got together without you. You see your ex-husband, his new wife is like 20 years younger than you. I don't know, whatever it is, it really makes you upset, fight or flight. Then maybe you have a really shitty breakfast because no one filled the milk up or the eggs. And so you end up having something you don't want. That's a stress response. Then you're stuck in traffic and you're letting yourself get more and more worked up over that because you're thinking, I'm going to be late and I have all these things to do. That's a stress response. Maybe your boss pisses you off. That's a stress response. Maybe you get home and as you're making dinner, you have to put out fires. Maybe your kid came back with a horrible mark on their test and they're freaking out at you. That's a stress response. Maybe now you have some time to yourself, but you have to fix a leak in your toilet and that's a stress response. And now you're finally lying down for the night, but you're wired because you're thinking of all the things that you need to do for tomorrow. That's a stress response. All right. So your body is being constantly fired up. And in this heightened state, shit doesn't work. You don't thrive well. You won't lose weight well. You won't sleep well. You won't eat well. Nothing will really work well. And the more shit you put on your plate, the worse it's going to be. So, for example, you start exercising more to compensate, or you start eating more to compensate, or you start sitting on your couch more to compensate because you don't feel like it. Those are stress responses. So now picture you're swimming in water and you just never have the opportunity to float, which we should be floating like 90% of the time and 10% of the time treading above water. Well, now you're above water 99% of the time. And girl, you can barely breathe. And so what is natural here is to say, we got to stop the stress response. Stop doing all the shit that makes you stressed, right? And when we look at what's going to affect cortisol and blood serum cortisol, we're looking at that cortisol response typically first thing in the morning because this one gets the most demonized. Why? Because cortisol will rise in the morning to wake you up. It is called the dawn effect. It typically happens around 4 a.m. in the morning, and it takes about an hour and a half to kick in so that you wake up in the morning. So let's not villainize cortisol here because you need cortisol to live. You need cortisol to wake up, to function, to build muscle. Okay, how do I know so much about this? Because this fucking dawn effect kills blood sugars in my son. All right. Like when we adjust blood sugars on his pump, we set targets every fucking hour of the day. So I know that for him at about 4:35 o'clock, he needs more insulin in his little body because the dawn effect is kicking in. And that's a good thing. All of us that have functioning pancreases, our bodies do that naturally, right? It starts dumping in more insulin. So we wake up with that. But what happens over time is we become insulin resistant because we're getting older, we're gaining more fat, and we're in perimenopause and menopause, which means we don't have progesterone and estrogen the way we used to keep us insulin sensitive. Okay. So we're fighting multiple battles here. It is deeper than just cortisol. So now we're adding in insulin resistance at any given level. And so what a lot of people say is, hey, the reason why you're stuck and you're overweight and you can't lose weight is because you're too stressed. And if you just waited 2 hours before waking up to then put more stress into your body, a la caffeine and coffee, you're going to be better off. Now, that's not wrong. Let me just make it clear because I know I'm going to get a lot of messages about this episode. I don't think that's a bad idea. If you're someone who wants to delay your morning coffee because you're struggling to get that dawn effect, maybe your morning cortisol is too low. Maybe it is too high. And you need to regulate those levels a little bit, then yes, delaying that morning cup of coffee or whatever hit of caffeine you're having is going to be beneficial. The problem is that we have all these people on social media, coaches like me, and just, I guess, influencers, just people talking out of their ass that are saying, this is your problem and you need to do this without any feedback. The name of the game is feedback. So I like to say, yeah, I agree with you that if that is the problem, that definitely would be the solution. But how do you know that's the problem? What problem are you trying to solve? You're trying to solve cortisol. Is cortisol a problem? Well, yes, I'm stressed. What the fuck does that mean? We're all stressed. I'm stressed. But guess what? I am 46 years old. I have 3 kids, a kid with type 1 diabetes. I don't sleep the greatest because of that. I run a full-time business as the CEO of my company. I run a household. I am fucking stressed. But guess what? I do my labs every 6 weeks and my cortisol is bang fucking on. Now, if someone were to look at me, they would say, "You're too stressed, delay your coffee." And I can say, I don't need to because I have feedback that I don't need it. However, I need to reduce my stress in other ways because the problem is still there. It's just not with dysregulated cortisol in the morning. And so I am going to enjoy my fucking coffee in the morning because that is the best part of my day. I love it. All right. And so this is why I talk so much about it, because other people hear this and you're cherry picking it. You're like, I can't lose weight and I feel like shit. And Karen on the gram told me that my problem is that I need to delay my morning coffee and I have my coffee first thing in the morning. So that must be my problem. And then you go and you listen to Karen and you delay your coffee. And guess what, honey? Nothing changes because that's not your problem. Maybe you're still drinking alcohol. Maybe you're still eating a lot of processed foods. Maybe you're not doing strategic movement. Maybe you're not lifting heavy enough weights. Maybe you're not resting and recovering enough. Maybe you're not sleeping enough. Maybe you're not setting boundaries. There's about 20 things I would do before I would even give up my morning coffee, and testing your blood is going to be the best way to really look at that. Or if you want to do urine analysis, you can do that as well. But some type of feedback to say, is this actually a problem to solve? And so this is why I constantly will talk about this on social media, because number one, I am real. I think that when most, if not every single person who gets on a call with me says, because I ask them this question, what is it about me? Why are we talking today? Why me? There's 1,000 other coaches in perimenopause and menopause that do what I do. What is it about me? And 10 out of 10 times I hear, Elise, you're real. I don't use filters. Number one, I don't even know how to use them. That's my age. And also I feel like I look weird in them. So I'm going to show you my wrinkles. I'm going to show you my grays. I'm going to show you my cellulite. I'm going to show you my chin hairs. I'm going to show you all the ugly that you might not want to see. All right. And I'm also going to give it to you real. When everyone is trying to villainize and cherry pick reasons why, I'm going to shine a mirror in your face and say the basics are still there. Let's not get so fancy. Let's not overcomplicate everything. In fact, one of our core values at FFWE is simplicity for this reason. Are we overcomplicating it? Yes. Do we need to? No. Does that mean that we never encourage our clients to delay caffeine? Absolutely not. We have clients that come in and we test them and their cortisol is nowhere near it should be. It is dysregulated. They are going to be delaying their coffee 100%. But for the majority of us, for the other 99%, girl, you have other shit you need to work on before you get rid of your morning coffee. All right. You may completely disagree with me, and I get it. You might completely agree with me and want to give me a big hug. In fact, I've had people say to me, Elise, I signed up with you because you're the only one who told me that I can have my morning coffee. And you know what else I like to say? I don't ever want you to give up something that you truly love. Now, if you're doing drugs every morning, you're like, yeah, I snort a line of cocaine every morning at 6 a.m. Okay, we're going to have another conversation. Or if you're like, I'm addicted to gambling or sex or whatever it is, we're going to have a conversation. But if you're like, I truly love my morning cup of coffee, it sets my mood for the day, I feel calm, I get into my meditation, it's alone time, it grounds me, it sets the day for, I'm not going to take that away from you. Just like when people come in and they're used to doing, I don't know, F45 or CrossFit or something, and they truly love it because they love the community, I'm not going to pull that away from them. We're going to meet you where you're at to get you to where you want to be. This is how we make changes. But in the meantime, I am telling you, unless you have feedback, meaning labs that prove that your cortisol is dysregulated, go ahead and have a cup of coffee with me. Enjoy. And let me know. I'd love to hear some feedback on this episode. Do you delay your morning coffee, or do you, like me, drink it in the morning and enjoy it for the rest of the day? Love to know. Go ahead, leave me a review on this podcast, or better yet, if you could share this episode on your social and tag me, I would love to see you drinking your morning coffee. Let's start a morning movement. Actually, I would love it. Tag me on social. I'd love to see morning coffee on there as well. Now, if you're someone who likes to see the visual of this and all my expressions, you can go and catch this on my YouTube as well at Elise Surkov. But otherwise, find me on social on Functionally Fit with Elise, and I will catch you on the next one.